a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, viewers, we're just at 7 a.m. on Thursday. That's Thursday, the 11th of May, 2023. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet, and this morning I'm here with you solo. Ria isn't with us here this morning, but we really want to thank you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show and continuing to give us that level of support as we seek to bring to you updates and all the informations and the happenings within Tobago and in fact Trinidad and Tobago. All right, viewers, a lot happening within Tobago, in particular very interesting developments coming out of security briefings and so on. We heard from the Chief Secretary, ECP, etc. But at this point, let's head on into news in 90 seconds.
Thank you so much, Julian. And here's your news in 90 seconds for May the 11th, 2023. ACP Collis Hazel warned that gangs and blocks based in 36 communities throughout Tobago, that police would target them in response to an upsurge in gun-related crime. Hazel spoke at a joint press conference yesterday with Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, who explained that many of the gangs in Tobago are branches of established gangs in Trinidad. Among measures announced to address crime are increased joint patrols with the Defence Force and increased stop and searches. Meanwhile, Augustine said the THA would support the police efforts by housing 30 additional officers, sourcing vehicle scanners for the Scarborough Port, and establishing an informant support desk at 211, among other measures. Additionally, owners of abandoned vehicles have 1 week to remove them from public roads, or the THA will remove them. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine made an announcement yesterday at a press conference. He said derelict vehicles prevent the free flow of traffic and obstruct emergency vehicles. Additionally, he explained that criminals use derelict vehicles to hide firearms, ammunition, and drugs. As a result, Augustine warned Tobagonians to move the vehicles onto their personal properties or dispose of them within 1 week. And finally, businesses owed less than $250,000 in VAT refund from the government were promised cash payments in May and June by Finance Minister Colin Imbert during the mid-year budget review in Parliament yesterday. For businesses owed more than $250,000, Imbert said their refund would be issued in bonds set to mature in a few years. The finance minister is hoping to convince the parliament to approve $3.8 billion in supplemental funding for the national budget, most of which is to pay outstanding bills, arrears, and contracts. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Julian.
Thank you very much there, Chanel. Chanel, very, very interesting in terms of this startup with the news. Your thoughts in relation to that press briefing that would have taken place yesterday.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show, Julian, that, the safe Tobago that we have always, prided ourselves on, we can't really count on that anymore, especially seeing the trends that we have been seeing on the island within recent times. But I mean, it augurs well when we see the police coming together with the THA, although we know that security is not under the 5th schedule or is a responsibility of the THA, but the Chief Secretary, taking the initiative and seeing how important it is to work closely with the TTPS in order to receive or get back some level of normalcy on the island here of Tobago. And we saw ACP Collis Hazel indicating that there's an upsurge in gang violence in Tobago here as well. And I mean, that would be one of our first assumptions, seeing that we saw drive-by shootings, which are not very popular here on the island of Tobago. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. There's that sense of discomfort, because I would tell you, when I heard about the Mount Pleasant, My immediate reactions came to that's a road I would traverse on a norm, on a normal day, being in that space, etc. And then it begins to become very uncomfortable. You hear about the situation with regards to Bethel and other areas, and then you're realizing it's not limited in any way, form, or fashion to any specific village per se. And what made me even a little bit more concerned is the time of day.
Exactly, that was really critical, especially at that one in Mount Pleasant, because I am also from Mount Pleasant, and that area where that shooting took place is a main road, especially where there's like a grocery store there, and it's a place where a lot of young people are traversing back and forth. People sell water there. So imagine being an innocent person just wanting to patronize these young boys and support, their push towards entrepreneurship, and just finding yourself in the middle of the crossfire. It's just really unfortunate, honestly. And, to think that, even our representatives from time to time, they find themselves, being in these places just to show their constituents that, I am on the ground with you. And it's crazy to think that you could just be, casually strolling through, checking up on your people, and find yourself in the middle of a tragic situation like that one that took place in
Yes, indeed. Very troubling. And folks, that's just a reminder going out there to all. We have got to take that level of personal responsibility as well. Unfortunately, we cannot harbor situations where we may have some inclination that something may be happening, and hope that it never affects us in terms of other persons. We've got to take up our personal responsibility as well. If we have seen things or we know of things, to bring it to the attention, because let's be very real, in any country, under any circumstances, the police alone, the army alone, the protective services alone cannot do it. They've got to rely directly in terms of relations with the community to really assist in moving things ahead. So we really continue to look forward, and we are very hopeful. And I think one of the things that persons are also looking forward to is the fact of the new ACP. And when you have somebody new sitting in the seat, it's always hoped that they will be able to make further progress in terms of building and surpassing. So it's really a running start for ACP Collis Hazel,
and we saw
but he has been built for this.
He also joined forces with the Defense Force as well as the Coast Guard too, which is something that we have been hoping to see a lot on the island here, joint patrols.
Yes, so thank you very much there, Chanel, and a gentle reminder to all, let's make sure we take up our collective responsibility in order to helping providing any assistance possible to these forces that are seeking to ensure they keep us safe, the police, army, etc., ensuring that they keep us safe as an island, as a country in going forward. All right, viewers, at this point, just giving you some highlights. We're going to be heading into our birthday shout-outs. And just before we do, I want to remind you that our birthday shout-outs is sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger. Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
All right, and we get started on screen. Christoph Roberts sending birthday blessings out, and to Christoph Roberts, my classmate, and also villager, wishing you a happy birthday and God's continued blessings, bro. All right, we have on screen Celeste Hart Washington. And we want to wish Celeste a happy birthday, and indeed God continues blessings. We trust that you enjoy the celebration, Celeste. Our very own Carlton Lindo, wishing you a happy birthday. We trust that you'll take that time out, to really rock back for a bit and to enjoy the celebrations. Carlton Lindo. On screen, we have Ricardo Bob, and this birthday shout out is coming from the entire family. Ricardo sending those greetings out wishing you a happy birthday. And do take a little time out to enjoy the celebrations. And you see, we got a special face on screen. And this might account for, the fact why I'm here alone today. We want to say a happy birthday going out. A happy birthday going out to Oswald George, wishing you a happy birthday. And this greeting is coming from your wife, Rhea Richardson George, and the entire family. Really wishing you God's continued blessings. And I know that Rhea has grand plans for you today, taking that time out to celebrate life. All right, certainly wishing you a happy birthday. All right, thank you so much to each and every one of you, those connecting with us here on the Tobago Updates morning show. And at this point, we're heading on into our rundown for this morning. This morning, we will be hearing from Ashworth Jack, the new chairman of the Studley Park Enterprise Limited, joining us as we speak to those upcoming responsibilities as he takes on the charge as chairman for Studley Park Enterprise Limited. We'll also have the opportunity this morning to chat regarding Nurses Week 2023. And we'll be chatting with Lorraine Roberts, and that's lead staff representative of the Registered Nurses Association of Trinidad and Tobago. All right. And we'll also be chatting about, we're heading on into Mother's Day, and we'll be speaking Music Amateurs Mother's Day concert. We'll be chatting this morning with Carol Warner, conductor accompanies Music Amateurs, and Akila Morton, choir master with Music Amateurs. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions this morning as we trending on in to the entire weekend celebrations. All right, let me give out some quick shout outs this morning. Those persons joining us on the live, those of you continue to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. And I want to say shout outs this morning. Auntie Dawn on the line. Good morning to you. Julia Brown Pearl, Murray Beard, Denisha, Shelly-Ann, Sharon in the mix, Desmond, Godfrey, Auntie Dora out there, Lisel James, QK Melville, Travis Moses in the mix this morning. Yeah, your very own Anton Parks, Pearl Duke. All good morning to each and every one of you. And once again, we say thank you. Thank you for continuing to connect with us. And at this point, it's that gentle reminder, folks, that this is your opportunity to share the live as we head on into Tobago in Focus.
World Consumer Rights Day theme for 2023 is Empowering Consumers Through Clean Energy Transition. The theme aims to focus on the role of consumers to push for a faster, clean energy transition. Larger countries have already begun doing so and are currently asking that smaller countries and islands do away with carbon energy.
The more developed countries can afford to do that because they would have established themselves, established the economy, have the standard of living so high based on the carbon energy that they would have used for production for years. Now, the smaller countries like ourselves who are in third world status, we are now trying to establish ourselves, and our access is carbon energy. So what do?
Trinidad and Tobago's current access is carbon energy. However, consumers can practice conservation by other means.
When you're not using a light, you turn it off.
Right.
Instead of driving to go certain places, you can walk or you can cycle. So those are what we are really pushing at Consumer Affairs, because for us to tell consumers to cut down on carbon energy, tell the country to cut down on carbon energy, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot.
The Consumer Affairs Division also deals with consumers' rights and responsibilities, the importance of knowing and exercising your right.
Consumers, you know your rights. We have been doing pretty good in Tobago. I must say between the last 5 to 10 years, consumers are quite aware of their rights, like your right to redress, your right to choice, your right to choose. Those are good. Your right to consumer education. All those are rights that we should have as consumers. We should be practicing. But what consumers are not doing properly is to adhere to your responsibilities.
If consumers do not practice their responsibilities, certain rights can become defunct. Consumers have a right to choose, but many do not understand that they have a responsibility to shop around and get information regarding products before purchasing.
Viewers, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. In this segment, we get the conversation started as we speak of SPEL, the Studley Park Enterprise Limited, and we are chatting with Ashwood Jack, the new chairman. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Julian. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, the world.
I feel like we spoke quite recently, and I'm now chatting with you in another capacity, wearing another hat this morning.
That is so. You know, we have had our chats. We are always very cordial with each other, and of course, this morning is in a different capacity altogether.
So we want to get the conversation going, Ashwood, where we start. You would have been recently appointed as chairman. Tell us a little bit about what some may define as the background that will be able to support in this role, based on, I know you operated in the assembly in a time where there were efforts to build out even the Studley Park quarry in itself to get to that pivotal point where we hope that it will.
Probably the most active Studley Park quarry I've ever been was at the time that I was at Works. We were selling material for the construction of the Atlantic LNG trains 3 and 4, along what that was armored rock and aggregate. We also, in that time, was responsible for the construction of the jetty at Barbados Bay, because the trucks were coming into Scarborough, and we thought it was kind of endangering the lives, because, of course, the trucks were hustling to come in and out. And so we did construct the Barbados Bay in that time, the Barbados Bay jetty. You know, so I'm pretty familiar with Studley Park situation. Of course, you know, I also have a background in project management in a pretty large industry in terms of flying to trial every morning for 9 years, flying back home. When people think you're going for politics, I'm going for work, you know. And it's really, I think that it's an exciting opportunity. It's an exciting opportunity. Been there just over a month, and it's a very exciting opportunity.
So for you know, an extended period of time, there's always been the conversation that the quarry, ultimately, if well managed in terms of has the capacity to really deliver for and generate a kind of turnover, bringing revenue to the Tobago space. Tell us a little bit about that in the context of where you are hoping to take things as the new chairman.
I've always shared that view. But I also want to tamper people's expectation with reality. Quarrying in nowhere in the country has been very profitable. But again, you have to also take into consideration the type of rock they use, the use for which it is done. Tobago is a very fortunate place, and the average Tobagoan is a lot more fortunate who uses the quarry material than they think. The abrasion level of the rock at Studley Park makes it very high in demand. And normally, you would not use that kind of rock strictly for construction and that kind of stuff. But this is what we have, and this is what has been used. And what we have seen in the last couple of years, in fact, since as far back as 1999-2000, there was a demand for rock out of Studley Park. Besides selling material to the Atlantic LNG, there were 2 other companies in Suriname and Guyana way back in 1999-2000 that were purchasing material from Studley Park. I saw we had set up our first US account. And so we were selling to Ballast Natum and Lance Ballast, 2 companies out of Suriname and Guyana. Of course, you recall that there's also the attempt to use the material at Studley Park at downstream, emery boards, sandpaper, that kind of stuff. And of course, you know what happened with the plant being left to rot and all that. But the thing is, there's an extremely high demand for materials that are produced at Studley Park for a number of reasons. And let me try to just build out 2 quickly. Guyana, because of Tobago's location in the Caribbean, Tobago is poised to move to almost anywhere in the Caribbean, get there very easily. And Guyana is on an upward trajectory in terms of its economic development. And so they're building miles and miles of roads in the interior. And so that is a ready source market, and could become a net earner of foreign exchange, because, of course, the material will have to be sold in US dollars. We know how hard it is to get US dollars in Tobago, and if Tobago can make that kind of of contribution. Besides Guyana, there's also the Trinidad market that seems to have a pretty heavy demand. But we are also mindful that some of the persons who are coming out of the Trinidad market really wants to sell to Guyana. So they become middlemen. But of course, there are a lot of road construction and all that taking place in Trinidad. And we also have that opportunity. So what are we doing in the last month or so that I have been there, or this new board have been in place, is that we've been kind of looking at how the quarries organize, equipment, plants, how we look at the mountains, what we cut, what we don't cut, and stuff like that. And it is interesting. I want to say that I was pleasantly surprised when I went to the quarry that some of the workers are so enthused to get things going. And sometimes some of them have shown a level of frustration that says, we can do better than this. Of course, in every place you go, there are going to be those workers that just come to work for pay. But there are some of them who really, really want to see things happen, and I've started working with those. Because the rest you hope will come along. We have to stem the issue of theft at the quarry. We have to stem the issue of how the equipment is used. But one of the things that we continue to suffer from is the fact that a large amount of the equipment, the parts and stuff that are used in the quarry are not available readily locally. And so they have to be imported. And so one of the things, and I just put in the secretary and the chief secretary on warning, one of the things that we are looking for is that probably an initial injection of some capital to have a power stock so that we don't have the downtime, as much downtime. We now put in place a proper system of preventative maintenance. And of course, we need to also look at the marketing aspect. Luckily for Spell, it doesn't have to spend a lot of money on marketing because you have a product that is in demand. But you remember, this doesn't have, this demand is not finite. In that there will come a time that Guyana will stop building all the roads. There will come a time that Trinidad don't need as much aggregate. So it's a straight case of beating the iron while it is hot.
Tell us, when persons hear of Studley Park, many know of the quarry in the broader sense, but the quarry has also shot into the spotlight in more recent times because of the issue with the license to be granted, which comes out of, in terms of central government. We've also heard a response from ministers saying that based on the checks in relation to the license, they're still awaiting certain documentation from Spell, from the Tobago House of Assembly, in order to consider granting. What's the status? What's the status with that situation?
I think sometimes, I'm not sure if the minister have all the information, right? I was hoping that the political aspect of it will be dealt with by the secretary. But as far as our checks are concerned, is that we have submitted Spell, and that is the last board, because we're just on board about a month, just over a month. The last board and stuff did submit those things some of them since October of last year, and they didn't get a response until March of this year, and so I'm not sure if that's entirely correct. But I'm also very, very concerned that it had to escalate to this point, in that regardless of which government is in office in Tobago or which government is in office in Trinidad, the nation's business must take priority over the personalities. And I think that the fact that the Tobago House of Assembly said that nothing stops a minister from having discussions with a secretary, they could have been reaching out on both sides, and there could be some discussions that helps to sort that kind of stuff out. Not only Tobago suffers, but the nation of Trinidad and Tobago suffers. If Trinidad needs the aggregate for their roads and they don't get it, then they suffer. If we in Tobago need the aggregate for our home construction and that kind of stuff, then we suffer. If the country is in need of foreign exchange and we can become a net earner of foreign exchange, then the country suffers. And therefore my pleading will be, is for a cooling of the temperature a bit, and let some discussion take place. Some good sense would prevail, because there's just a lot more than meets the eye. I've seen documentation where there have been an offer to because the Ministry of Energy was tardy in doing the audit. There have been an offer to pay something, 700 something thousand, more than 4 years ago, and there have been no response. And even the issue of where it is paid, who it is paid to, that kind of stuff. There need to be a cooling, and the nation interests need to be put first.
So you're seeing where some assessment has to be done in terms of driving things forward. Tell us, where do you hope to take things in terms of the inquiry within this term? The term of the board is 1 year, 2 years?
A year.
Right. So where do you hope to kind of begin to drive things in that direction?
Well, we've started moving. Anybody knows me, know I'm an action person. Went in there, noticed that too much equipment was down. Went on the ground, talked to the employees, why are all these equipment down? Because you don't always get the whole picture from management. And you have to talk to management. But if you're the chairman or whatever, you have to also be able to talk to the guy on the ground. And, it is very heartening to see what those guys on the ground was able to deliver to me in 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. We had equipment that was down for 4 years, that are no operation. But not even one, a couple of pieces of equipment. I talk about multi-million-dollar equipment that we have been able to bring back in 3 weeks. Excavators, telehandlers, loaders, and stuff like that. And we're going to continue moving in that direction. I also in a situation, this new board met a situation where the plant was as such that one plant, the Cedar Rapids, was operations at about 40% capacity, and the Nordberg was down. And so there was a backlog. And so we have sought to move that forward. And we have now been able to have both plants up and running. And of course, they're not producing as much as we would like to. And that is because we have to do a couple more changes, but we can now meet the demand of a lot of our customers. I have a couple of meetings today, and I will continue to have a couple of meetings with the person who comes with extremely large demands. And we need to look at that. We need to look at how that has been dealt with. If we need to have additional plant, if we need to have a lease arrangement for our plant, if we need to have an arrangement where someone set up the plant and we pay them for production. There are a number of options that we need to explore, but it is William Shakespeare that says that there's a tide in the affair of man, if taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all our voyages are bound in swells and in misery. On such a high seas are we now afloat. We must take the currents at its surge or lose our ventures. We are on our high seas in terms of demand, and we have to do what is necessary to make Sunday Park Quarry a profitable place.
Right. Do you see projections in terms of the current business model? Do you think there'd be a need for changes and modifications there as well in that, that trajectory to moving it towards a profitable entity?
We have started that. We met some work done already, in all fairness to the board before. We met some work doing. Some of the work was necessary. The management structure was not conducive to an industry. So when you're in there, you don't know who is responsible for what. It's just all over the place. And you cannot be pumping good money behind bad. And so the whole management structure have to be restructured. The reporting procedures, that kind of stuff. How we deal with orders. And of course, Study Park is not just stone. Study Park is made up of 3 different sets of stuff. We have the asphalt plant.
Right.
We have the concrete batching plant. We have the finger pier. And of course, the rocks. And so the intention is to make every arm of that facility at least break even or to become profitable. We must become profitable in a short space of time. There's too much going for us not to. And so it's going to take a bit of doing, because there are debts that the quarry have from as far back as 2017. So we have to look to talk with some of those people to see how we can work out something in terms of the relationship. And of course, there are some outstanding debts for the quarry, and so we'll also want to move to be able to fix that. But it's not impossible. It's doable. It's doable.
So, and you know, you mentioned a very interesting aspect there when you spoke to the breakdown of, the breakdown rather of what the quarry has to
Entails,
offer.
yeah.
Because I think many people know it for one aspect,
yeah.
and you think in terms of that's
Aggregate,
all correct,
that's it.
aggregate, and in
Yeah.
terms of that's all that they do there. But I want you to tell me a little bit more, because that kind of jumps out when you speak to the issue in relation to outstanding, and these are what recent over a number of years,
Over a number of years
that they have been.
Number of years. As I said, so far I'm seeing bills as far back as 2017, and so we have to meet with people. And Study Park is also owed, right? So some clients owe us, we owe people, and the people that we owe most of all would be the supplier of parts and stuff. And that is why it is so important for Study Park to be able to become a net earner of foreign exchange, because some of the things that we are asking people to buy for us is things that we can buy for ourselves, but the unavailability of foreign exchange. And let me just say this. There's a loan on Study Park. Study Park as a company, have taken a loan, but the loan has two aspects, which is a US dollar component and a TT dollar. They have been able to service the TT dollar component because it's available. But the US dollar, I've been told that for years, they have not been able to access US to pay that part of it. One of the beauty of the assembly working together is that we have been able to talk to the Secretary of Finance, also the Secretary, which of course is also the Chief Secretary, the Secretary of Food Production, who is responsible for TATCO. And TATCO is an earner of US dollars through its sale of its fish. And so we are now making arrangement to probably in the next month or so start the payment of that aspect of the loan, the US dollar aspect, by getting the US dollars from TATCO in order to service that part of the loan. You will also understand that because that part of the loan have not been serviced for nearly 2 years, it is accruing interest. And that is something we would want to be able to deal with very quickly. I must say that I have had a conversation with the principals in the organization for which the loan was acquired, and they have been very cooperative, very, very cooperative.
In terms of finding the details.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time this morning, but anything else you would like to share in terms of bringing us up to speed with current information and happenings at SPEL?
I want to say to Tobagonians,
because certainly the eyes are going to be keen on the operations of SPEL.
Of course.
Ashwood Jack seems to be a man in focus in our Tobago space.
And that's the thing about SPEL, and that's the thing about, and I think that people never pelt leaves. Somebody will understand that we will touch it. We will turn it to gold. We have no choice, and that's not an idle boast. It's us saying every Tobagonian is dependent on being less dependent on Trinidad, and therefore everything that we have that we can turn into a profitable enterprise, we should do everything in our power. And I want to say to Tobagonians, listen. The politics of hate, of division and stuff has no place in a small society. It must be the politics of progression. We must understand that we are in this together. We cut off together, we grow together. SPEL is not an organization that belongs to any political organization. It belongs to the people of Tobago. And therefore, we will treat it as such. It means that when you want material to buy, it's not one and not at this I can't buy. We will make SPEL such a place that people will feel comfortable coming to there, feel proud that Tobago can do the things that we would hope to do. And to the workers of SPEL, we will work together with you. We work together with you. To the stakeholders, which are the people in the construction industry and stuff like that, you have an issue, talk to us, and we can find a solution together as to how we can make you comfortable, make some money for Tobago, and of course, make sure the workers are comfortable.
I'm going to put a quick plug for the beneficiaries here. Persons that indicate they go there and you almost have to dedicate your entire morning or your entire day. Are you going to look at those systems very quickly?
I am sure that anybody who has been to spend in the last 3 weeks does not have that problem. It was a problem that I had identified long before I was asked to go there a month or so ago. And we have dealt with that very quickly. Again, it sometimes happens that people, most of Tobago's demand will be mixed aggregate. And the mixed aggregate is just that. It's a number of different aggregates you have to mix. I would have explained in one of my opening statements about the issue of the plant being down, one plant being down, and the other operators have 40% capacity. So it means that the cones that might have been making a certain size of aggregate might not have been operational. And therefore, that the amount of production would not have been able to keep pace with the demand. And that we have addressed, and we will continue to address it. If there are old plants, they'll be breakdown from time to time, but we are putting things in place to have them repaired very, very quickly.
Excellent. Thank you very much there, Ashwood Jack, bringing us up to speed on the happenings as chairman of the Studley Park Enterprise Limited. And yes, truck drivers and users, he has spoken to that issue as well, because we know that has been a broad concern, and therefore giving that commitment to really making a difference in that regard. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for continuing to connect and choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. Coming up in our next segment, we will be chatting with Laureen Roberts, lead staff representative of the Registered Nurses Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and as we chat about Nurses Week 2023. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions. Those of you connecting with us via TV, those of you listening in on the radio as you're heading on in to your places of work, and for those of you online, probably also on the road heading in to your places of work or already settled at work, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on. Oh. This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
Talk about love, talk about trust, talk about forever, baby. When you talk about us, I give you my word, stick to my guns. Believe me when I tell you, baby.
Put a smile on your face when you you're moving from place to place.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We're just at about 7:39 a.m. this morning, and in this segment, we are chatting Nurses Week 2023, and we have on with us Lorraine Roberts, lead staff representative of the Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, the Tobago branch. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Mr. Skate.
All right, so I want you very quickly, because you know that's a natural misunderstanding persons can have. When you talk Tobago, the Tobago branch or the Tobago sector of it, give us just a quick, what makes up the Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association in terms of regions or sections? Because I would have assumed naturally it might be wherever there's an RHE, but apparently that's not the structure of the association. So let's bring some clarity as we get started this morning.
Okay, so the Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, we have 4 branches. The 4 branches comprise Tobago branch, that's us here in Tobago, which will cover the health centers, the primary care, Roxborough Hospital, and the Scarborough General Hospital. We have South branch, which will cover Point Fortin and San Fernando and parts of South. And we also have the Northern branch, which will cover North Central and Port of Spain and environs. And we also have the Eastern branch, which will cover the Eastern Regional Health Authority and the environs, the health centers within that area.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the kickstart that has happened in this week with the national celebrations, and then we zone into Tobago and our branch here.
Okay, so on May the 12th every year, we celebrate International Nurses Day. This is a celebration that has come about because of this is the anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birthday. So this year, the theme for our International Nurses Day celebrations, as sanctioned by the International Nurses Council, is Our Nurses, Our Future. So we would have kick-started our Nurses Week celebration, which started on the 7th and will end on the 12th, which is tomorrow. It was kick-started in Trinidad with a luncheon at Cruise Inn in Trinidad. So for Tobago, tomorrow we will we started doing stuff throughout the week, but tomorrow we'll have our Thanksgiving service at the Shore Park Cultural Complex, which will include all the nurses in our Tobago space, both retirees and present nurses.
Interesting concept. Tell me about that in terms of catering to the collective, because you know I have a colleague through one of my organizations, and the statement is often made, when you're in a profession like nursing, you're always, even when you retire, once you're still able and capable, you can continue to deliver service. Tell us about that connection, about ensuring the combination both between those who have retired, still able and capable and contributing, and also actively in the service.
Okay, so as the theme suggests, our nurses, our future. In order to go into the future, we have to remember where we came from, which is the past. So therefore, our retired nursing personnel are very important in helping us to take the lead and to invest in the future, which are now the young nurses, the student nurses, the nurses who are working at present. We are the future. So we need the retirees who are the past to help us navigate towards the future.
All right, excellent. So we've spoken about the church service. You also have an initiative that's happening today, internal?
Yes. So at the Roxborough Hospital, they will kick off their celebrations with an entrepreneurial nursing show where the nurses will come out and showcase what they can do,
right,
so that persons will be able to visit the Roxborough the Roxborough Hospital and celebrate Nurses Week with the nurses there. It's not just about working, it's also about giving back to the community and giving back to society. So the nurses will be showcasing their entrepreneurial skills as well today.
All right. And the church service, has it, in terms of where is it carded for, the venue and time, has that been confirmed just yet?
The venue is at the Shore Park Cultural,
good. Yes.
the Shore Park Cultural Complex, and it will begin at 9 a.m.
All right, good.
So we are inviting all the nursing personnel in the Tobago space, primary care, tertiary care, retirees, come out. If you have your uniforms, come out in your uniforms. If you still have the last uniform that you would have worn and it can fit, come out in your uniform and let us make this celebration big, because as you know, the nurses, we would have gone through a whole lot during the pandemic. So we just want to celebrate and give thanks for all that we would have been able to accomplish this far throughout that period and going forward.
And let me take this opportunity to join in with Trinidad and Tobago in terms of saluting our nurses and medical professionals, really doing an exceptional job in that entire time of the pandemic to steer us through very, very challenging times and the critical role that nurses certainly play. So I understand that there will also be some lighter side type activities, sip and paint and so on. Tell us a little bit about those. Not open for the general public, but bringing together your, nurses and
the sip and paint, that will be part of the Roxborough calendar of events. So they will have a sip and paint, they will have the entrepreneurial day, which is today, and they will also have a treasure hunt, right?
And let me just get the team to pull that up on screen for us. So persons will also get the visual with regards to it. One carded for Friday the 12th being the church service, and then the 18th we go on to the sip and paint as part of the celebration activities. So we see the sip and paint there is carded to take place at the Roxborough facility on Tuesday the 18th of May. Yes, and then is the activity on the 25th where we would close the month celebrations.
That is at the Roxborough Hospital. So this calendar here, this demonstrates what the Roxborough Hospital nurses will be doing to commemorate Nurses Week.
All right.
So for the Scarborough General Hospital, because nursing as a profession is very unique, nursing and midwifery, in order to take us to the future, to that level, we want to be able to have a lot of educational programs as well, right? So at the Scarborough General Hospital, we have decided that we will be doing educational days for the nursing staff and nursing personnel. We will also be having a recognition award that will be happening sometime in the month of May. Also, we will be having what we usually call Nurses Got Talent. It might be in another form instead of the regular set up in the courtyard and the nurses come out and display what they can do, because nurses also are very entrepreneurial. We have a lot of skills. We have a lot of hairdressers. We have event managers. We have a lot of different. We have horticulturalists and stuff like that. So we want to showcase not only the professional side of what we do, but also what we can do in our downtime to assist us to be able to function holistically as caregivers.
And it speaks to one of my colleagues, Nurse Ashton, always reminding how important self-care is. And I suppose naturally, when you have come through the pressures of a day as a professional, what do you do to keep yourself going or to rejuvenate in that context? So important for medical professionals in the field. Any other activities that you would want to highlight before we close off this morning's interview in terms of the happenings as we celebrate nurses in 2023?
All right. So as we invest in the future of the nurses, before we even talk about what we will be culminating this Nurses Week celebration with, we need to be reminded that we are a unique body of professionals. This, by our uniqueness, we have been able to use evidence-based research to charter the course forward for nurses. So we also speak to professionalism, professional behaviors. We also speak to the skills of the nurses and also research. So going forward, one of the things that we, as the nursing body and the professional organization of Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, one of the things that we hope to achieve is to invest in the future of nurses through educational courses and continuing education. To culminate the Nursing Week activities, and I shouldn't say the week, but at the end of the month, we will be having, right? We will be having our Sports and Family Day at the Buku Integrated Facility. At this Sports and Family Day, the Trinidad branch, the Trinidad team will also be present. They'll be coming up to join us. This is our signature event, so it's going to be an event happening every year on the 30th of May. So we want to invite all our friends and our family and the hospital. So it will be the Roxborough Hospital, the community setting, Trinidad, and the Scarborough General Hospital nurses and their family coming out to have a fun-filled day and downtime, right?
Excellent.
So that is how we will culminate the Nurses Month.
Right. Very interesting. So, folks, we started off with Nurses Week, but you realize this is going all out. It's important because you got to take this time out in terms of really recuperating, and kind of being able to re-energize yourselves to head on out again. So we want to say thank you very much to Lorraine Roberts, lead staff representative of the Trinidad and Tobago Registered Nurses Association, the Tobago branch. Now I can see that with a greater degree of confidence and understanding. The Tobago branch representing here this morning and bringing us the highlights that will be taking place in terms of the celebration, month-long celebration for happening, particularly in the Tobago space, and what's happening at the national level, and certainly the culmination that takes place for Trinidad and Tobago happening on the 30th of May. And there's that call for all nurses to come out in support. Whether you have retired or you are still in active service, this is your opportunity to come together to celebrate. I'd really like to see that very interesting displays of uniforms over that period of time, and that sense of pride that nurses will be able to come out with, most definitely. The viewers, we want to thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. Coming up in our next segment this morning, we will be talking as we head on into a Mother's Day concert. We have on screen Carol Warner and Akila Morton as we speak music amateurs Mother's Day concert. We look forward to those upcoming details. And to remind you at this point, viewers, that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Sign up, save, and win every day with Digicel Plus. You could win a tablet or a TV every single day. Just sign up for Digicel Plus and like yourself. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store to sign up now. Promotion ends May 19th and is approved by the NLCB.
The Across the Floor Dance Company presents Emotions, Movement of the Heart dance production on Saturday, May 27th at the Shore Park Complex. Come see dances of all genres. Seating at 6:30 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under pay $50 at the door. Tickets are available at Shore Park Complex box office, or please call 391-2816 for more information. This is an event for the entire family.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacord, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Yes, be careful.
Honey, I feel I'm gonna start to cook, yes, because these children must be hungry now. Right?
These plugs, oh my gosh.
Hey, what's up? Hey, come from there. Come from there.
What's going on in here?
Oh God, I should have buy. What would you do if this happened to you? Dial 990 in case of fire emergencies and always have a serviceable fire extinguisher ready and available at all times.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, viewers, we're in our final segment this morning, and we have the opportunity. We're talking music amateur. We're talking Mother's Day celebrations coming up on this weekend, and therefore we're happy to welcome on set. You may be familiar with the Warners when you hear music amateurs, but no, it's not the Warner parents. This is the daughter coming to us here today. Carol Warner, conductor, accompanies, and music amateur, and Akila Morton, choir master. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
So you see, when I as Ria would probably say, I grew up in a time of knowing music amateurs with a particular grouping. So it's nice to see in terms of that combination and seeing that the transition is taking place in the mix. So you have that beautiful combination. So we get started immediately. Music amateurs has an extensive kind of repertoire over the years. People look forward to anything happening in this space. Let's start off by giving us a little insight about what's been happening with music amateurs coming out of the pandemic.
Okay, since the coming out of the pandemic, we would have had our annual Christmas concert resumed last December. So that would have been our first item that we would have actually displayed. And now we're back with our Mother's Day concert, which is also an annual staple within our calendar. We usually have two types of concerts, the Mother's Day concerts and the Christmas concerts.
All right, so give us some details. When is the Mother's Day concert carded for in terms of persons who may want to be able to access? When is it happening? Where is it taking place this year?
So it's happening on this Sunday, 14th May at 6 p.m., promptly at 6 p.m. Our shows are always on time. And it's at the Lowlands Mall, Lowlands, Tobago.
All right. And I see we also have on the lineup some guest artists in the mix.
Yes, we do. So we have a number of guest artists. We have Devon Stewart on the steel pan. We have Mr. Malcolm Boyce. He's a saxophonist from Trinidad. We have Callan Jamoy Alexander. And we also have 3 smaller junior ensembles, one from the what's the school called? Lambo Anglican Primary School, Lambo Anglican Primary School, a music amateurs junior choir, and the Belvoir Ensemble.
All right. So we see the ticket prices are at $200. Where can persons access tickets?
You can contact 639-5268, Miss Jennifer Dubertile, and we will assist from there.
All right. Do members also have access to tickets? Because
yes.
I know the likes of, and good morning and shout outs to Auntie Ann. They make sure. Tell us about that level of commitment and dedication, because it's almost as though across your membership, you know your clientele in addition to looking out for new. How important is maintaining that while encouraging others to come to have the experience of music amateurs?
Well, we have our old faithful audience that they're very consistent and very loyal to us, and we're very grateful for them. But over the years, we've been trying to increase the number of younger persons attending our concerts and also younger members joining our choir. So currently, our youngest member singing in the choir is 28. And the oldest member is, of course, in the 80s. Actually, it's 82. So we are working towards developing the relationship with a younger audience, and also that's why we bring in the junior ensembles as well, so that they get used to this type of music and they're more open to coming to a concert such as this.
Tell us how important is that kind of blend in terms of ensuring that this kind of music lives on? Because it's no secret, our generation, we're in touch with the reggae, we're in touch with the soca music, calypso, etc. How important it is, and you know, the role that music amateur really plays in ensuring that we have that kind of continuing beyond.
Well, I'd say that Music Amateurs is one of those groups that has fostered the development of a lot of young people in Tobago. Several of them have actually gone on to become professional musicians, like myself and Mr. Karen Hislop, who is actually Mr. Hislop, one of our foundation members, his son, who is the program director for the USC Music Department in Trinidad. And so we continue to do that work. My parents especially have been reaching out to schools. Since they've both retired, they've been teaching this type of music in several primary schools, and that's where the junior choir has come out from. Some of the children would have been part of the Lambo Anglican School, and then there are a few others who would have joined in along the way. So it's very important to us to ensure that there's succession planning and that other people get involved in different types of music, not just what we're used to, the folk and so forth in Tobago.
All right. What would you say would have attracted you in terms of getting involved in a choir in this kind of official way?
I would say the style of music, the genre, the exposure as well. I would have started from age 8, and I have been a part of it ever since. The development as well that the choir would have allowed in doing voice training, learning music, the different genres, the different style, stage performance, and yeah, it's been wonderful for me as a person developing and also connecting with persons as well.
All right. And I want to touch on you a little bit, Carol. You know, I'm particularly impressed in terms of instrumental, and, you know, we know you are in that sphere. Yep. When you would have started off being involved in the choir, I suppose you always had that natural music somewhere in the vein. Would you have seen yourself where you're at today, being able to go out there, even on your own, and doing instrumentals and wowing audiences far and wide?
I'd say that when I started in Music Amateurs, I was born into the choir. I didn't really have a choice, obviously, right?
Thank you to the parents.
Yes, definitely. So initially it was a part of my life. It was just what we did. My entire family has been in Music Amateurs since I've known myself. And so I sort of took it for granted, the development that I actually was benefiting from by being there. The moment I went off to study and I realized that the skills that I had developed while being a part of the group were just probably more advanced than a lot of other people, is when I realized just how much the choir actually influenced my musical career and my confidence, and giving me the opportunity to stand before them and conduct them even now, after being one of their choir babies for so many years. You know, now they're like, okay, we'll listen to Carol show. You know, so it has really helped me to blossom as a musician, and I do not take it for granted at all.
Excellent. And you see those words, the message there is certainly inspirational and a gentle reminder. Sometimes we take for granted, when our parents insist and we are not wrong certain things.
Yeah.
And then we live to see it in time and say, oh, by the way, thank you. Thank you, most definitely. Before we wrap this morning, the Mother's Day concert that's scheduled to take place, why is it a must attend, ladies?
It's going to be very exciting. Music Amateurs always gives a varied program. So you're not only going to hear classical music, you're going to hear some folk, you will hear some pop, some Broadway music, some Disney music. And then, of course, we have a wonderful lineup of guest performers. And we also have a dancer or two somewhere on the program. So it's going to be a really exciting time. Yes, very exciting time. And we look forward to seeing everyone coming out on Sunday.
Certainly. Remind our viewers of the details so that they can know when it's happening, where they can also access tickets.
Sure. So we welcome everyone to attend to our Mother's Day concert this Sunday, 14th May at 6 p.m. at the Lowlands Mall, Lowlands, Tobago.
All right. Quick reminder of the social media handles as well and where tickets can be accessed.
It's musicamateurstobago@gmail.com, Music Amateurs on Facebook.
All right. Excellent. And remind us the number with tickets, contact information.
639-5268.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us here on set as we speak. Music Amateur Choir Mother's Day concert that's upcoming. Ensure that you get your ticket and go out and support. We've certainly been promised a musical treat as is the custom, but always some extra coming there in the mix. And we invite and really want to encourage persons to head on out and support. Thank you so much, Carol Warner, conductor, and Akila Morton, choir master, for joining us here on set this morning. Sends a good signal. Our music is in good hands. All right. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. Those of you connecting with us via TV, those of you interacting with us via the radio, and those of you joining us online, we want to say thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. From here, we're heading straight on over to Tobago Notes and then on to GMT. And we'll see you tomorrow morning again. But remember to stay tuned and to stay connected. And this is your reminder. And I invite the ladies to join me in your reminder to share the live, share the live, share the live. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Occupational Safety and Health Department, formerly Safety and Health Unit, was established in 2012 as a strategic approach by the THA to comply with the Occupational Safety and Health Act. This department is responsible for the development and implementation of an OSH management system throughout all divisions of the THA.
A warm welcome to the 9th Annual Tobago House of Assembly's Occupational Safety and Health Awards Ceremony 2023. This ceremony marks the culmination of all of the activities that took place in commemoration of the ILO's World Day for Safety and Health at Work 2023, which is celebrated worldwide today. The activities hosted by the department embody the theme for this year. A safe and healthy working environment is a fundamental principle and right at work.
We want to use this opportunity to thank all of you for your service to the THA, service in the private sector as well. I want to thank all of you for ensuring that we keep our workers safe so that workers can go home safely every evening to their families. And we will keep working. This is a commitment that we will keep working as far as resources are available in ensuring that the work environment remains safe, hospitable, and healthy for all our workers.
was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Johnny,
fire,
do
call
something.
fire, call fire,
What's
call
the
fire.
number? What's the number? What's the number? Oh, God.
Fan emergency, good afternoon. You said the building is on fire. Are there any persons trapped? 4 persons. What is the address of the call, ma'am? Number 4, Candy Drive, Pier Road. Can I have your name, please? Miss Bihari. Thank you, Miss Bihari. I'll be dispatching an appliance. Central Control from Fire Control.
Go ahead, Fire Control. Central Control is really over.
Central Control, have a plans and crew. Respond to our residential fire. Same is at number 4, Kakandi Drive, Pier Road, Chabonas. 4 persons are trapped, 2 adults, 2 children. They were unable to make contact with fire service, so she called on their behalf.
Transmission received loud and clear. Operator at Central Control 3463. Firefighter Wiley, Central Control.
Create an evacuation plan for you and your family and practice your escape. Always ensure you have more than one way to safely exit your home. Your lives may depend on it.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Help! Fire service! Hello, fire service! Anybody in here? Fire service! Yeah, we're right here! We gotta get out! We're right here! Okay, take him! Let's go!
Thank you for saving me. You're my hero.
Together, as we face the challenges during the new normal, always remember that fire safety begins with you.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
morning and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know, whenever you see me here, it's because we're going to have those conversations that you want to have to get your morning started. And I'm going to be asking those questions that you want to ask. Now, this morning, we're going to start off by giving you your news in 90 seconds. And then we're going to get into a couple of conversations this morning. Now, in our first news story, ACP Collis Hazel warned gangs and blocks based in the 36 communities throughout Tobago that police will target them in response to an upsurge in gun-related crime. Hazel spoke at a joint press conference yesterday with Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, who explained that many of the gangs in Tobago are branches of established gangs in Trinidad. Among the measures announced to address crime are increased joint patrols with the Defence Force and increased stop and searches. Meanwhile, Augustine said that THA would support the police efforts by housing 30 additional officers, sourcing vehicle scanners for the Scarborough port, and establishing an informant support desk at 211, among other measures. Additionally, owners of abandoned vehicles have 1 week to remove them from public roads, or the THA will remove them. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine made the announcement yesterday at a press conference. He said derelict vehicles prevent the free flow of traffic and obstruct emergency vehicles. Additionally, he explained that criminals use derelict vehicles to hide firearms, ammunition, and drugs. As a result, Augustine warned Tobagonians to move vehicles onto their personal property or dispose of them within 1 week. And finally, businesses owed less than $250,000 in VAT refunds from the government were promised cash payments in May and June by the Finance Minister, Colin Imbert, during the mid-year budget review in Parliament yesterday. For businesses owed more than $250,000, Imbert said their refund will be issued in bonds set to mature in a few years. The Finance Minister is hoping to convince the Parliament to approve $3.8 billion in supplemental funding for the national budget, most of which is to pay outstanding bills, arrears, and contracts. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Guys, this morning we're going to be having a couple of really interesting conversations because there's a lot that's happening right here in Tobago right now. We have financial literacy that's going to be happening by Carreri, and we're going to be having some fire and safety awareness that's happening soon. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this, and we will have your conversations.
Thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. Do more, live more. Do more, live more. Oh.
This is how it's gonna go. Do more, live more. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show. Gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
For a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
The Across the Floor Dance Company presents Emotions, Movement of the Heart dance production on Saturday, May 27th at the Shore Park Complex. Come see dances of all genres. Seating at 6:30 p.m. Show starts promptly at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $100. Children 10 and under pay $50 at the door. Tickets are available at Shore Park Complex box office or please call 391-2816 for more information. This is an event for the entire family.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. As I promised you guys, we'll be back with so much more. And this morning, we're talking about fire prevention on the island of Tobago. And we are having this conversation with no other than Officer Jude Rogers, who is a fire prevention officer at the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. Good morning, Mr. Rogers. Good morning.
Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Yes, we can. And how are you doing?
We're great this morning, and we have a great message to the nation this morning. We really want people to be aware of the dangers that still exist when it comes to fire prevention in this particular season. As you know, we're still in the dry season, which ends on the 30th of this year, and so we still have quite a bit that is coming up before us, and we want persons to be aware. Just recently, here in Trinidad, we would have had a number of fires over the weekend, where persons would have lost their homes as a result to fires that were also supported by bushfires. So now because we're seeing rain falling, that means the danger has been totally averted. So we want members of the public to be very much aware of that and to continue with their drive for cleaning up of their homes around their property, in the eve of their property, in the guttering of your property, and also keeping that vegetation off your fence line. So it's very important that we maintain that during this period, as it is still very much in the bushfire season.
So that has been a common start of most of the fires that we saw over the weekend in Trinidad.
Well, some of them would have been caused as a result of negligence, others because of arson, but definitely the contributing factor, especially when one house is very close to the next. As you know, the saying says, when your neighbor house is on fire, you need to wet yours. And that is exactly a case that is taking place, because one house in particular was very close to another property, and as a result of the fire on the adjacent property and the bush that was between the both properties, we had one property be catching a fire as a result of that. Of course, fire officers responded well to that with the resources that they had and were able to avert danger to the houses that were adjacent to those two houses. But again, it's very sad, and we take no joy, no pleasure in the fact that persons still losing their homes to fires in 2023, when we believe that such an occurrence is very avoidable in this modern age that we have here today.
Seen any fires, house fires in Tobago since the beginning of 2023? How many?
In terms of house fires in Tobago, I would really have to look at the stats more closely. But I do know that across the board, in terms of bushfires, the severity of bushfire in Tobago is much less than that of Trinidad, but nonetheless, it is still an issue. And so, members of the public who reside in Tobago, and we have quite a few households in Tobago and businesses in Tobago, and we have lovely flora and fauna. We have such a beautiful rainforest, the main ridge, and all of those places. We asking farmers, even if you have to burn, even if you have to clear lands, please do so by applying to the fire service for your fire permit, and do so with the restrictions that will be given to you, or the guidelines that would have been given to you by the fire service. And so you can reach out to the nearest fire station, the Roxborough Fire Station, the Scarborough Fire Station, and you can access from those fire stations the fire guardians who will visit your property, and they would advise you on what are the measures to be taken, and also issue you a permit. And the permit is only $10. But we're saying if you don't burn with the use of the permit, you're doing something that's illegal, and there's a fine of $20,000 and imprisonment for 6 months. And we don't want that to happen to any member of the public.
Officer Rogers, you have advocated strongly for individuals using tools and devices in their own home to detect fires. Tell us why it's so important now more than ever for persons to invest in early detection equipment in their homes, as well as fire extinguishers.
It's a very excellent question. And the fact of the matter is this: fire has a specific timeline with which it moves from the very early stage to the mature or the decay stage. That period is just about 3 minutes. So I want you to think about the proximity of your home in relation to the nearest fire station, and the fact that you can move from a very small fire to a very involved fire within only 3 minutes. It means, therefore, that as members of the public, if we don't have early detection, it means that you can be trapped in your homes because you're unaware of the fire. Not only that, when you are made aware of the fire by the smoke detectors, which I'm advocating for to be placed in every room, you still need an extinguishing medium, not a bucket of water. It is not sufficient, and it definitely is not the best method to fight a fire. You need to have a 10 pound dry chemical fire extinguisher, dry chemical powder, or what we call an ABC fire extinguisher. It is highly effective, and it handles the majority of types of materials that you'll find in a modern home. So I'm advocating, members of the public, heed the warning. The best device that you can get to protect you is a smoke detector in each of your bedrooms and a 10-pound dry chemical fire extinguisher. I want to tell the public it is very inexpensive to put this measure in place, but once you do that, you give yourself the best opportunity of early warning and also eradicating a fire in your instance.
Right, and there is a difference, a significant difference between a smoke detector and is it a heat detector or a fire detector? They call that one. And how should one strategically place them around their homes? Because you said putting a smoke detector in every room. So explain to us, what is the strategy when buying smoke detectors? Should we look to get a smoke detector in every single room, or should we strategically place them maybe in the hallway, maybe in the living room, in the kitchen? You know, where do we put smoke detectors as opposed to heat detectors? Because in the kitchen, you know, we are accustomed to that smoke. You know, every time you cook a particular meal, there's smoke. Sometimes the smoke detector goes off. So help us to understand the strategy behind investing in the equipment for our homes.
Again, another very excellent question. And so the rule of thumb is that we place detectors where the sleeping risk is. So you are asleep mainly in your bedroom. So as you rightfully said, each of the bedroom would receive a smoke detector, or should have a smoke detector mounted to the center of the room on the ceiling at the highermost point. And also your hallways may also, depending on the distance in your hallways, you should place a fire extinguisher in the hallways, because smoke will get out of the room and into the hallways. It is a good way to detect. But definitely you do not want to place a smoke detector in your kitchen, because as you know, we cook and smoke is a natural byproduct when we cook. In some instances, when you're chunking the pot, as they say, or when you're frying something, you may develop some smoke. So for that purpose, we have heat detectors. Now, you may not always get a battery-operated heat detector, although they are available at some of the leading safety device stores, or the stores that supply safety devices. But the best thing to do is to place them in bedrooms, in your living room, and in your corridors. And if you can purchase, or if you can locate a heat detector, you should place those in your bathrooms and also in your kitchen. Those are the areas that you want to. Oh, by the way, if you have storerooms where you're storing material, you would want to also place a heat detector in your garage area if it's enclosed. You will not want to put a smoke detector there, as the carbon monoxide from your vehicle as you're idling is going to set off the smoke detector. So I hope that clears up the whole idea of where you should be placing smoke versus heat detectors in your home.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. And, a lot of persons feel like emergency evacuation procedures are for public buildings, or, just places where a lot of where the public usually frequents. But you have said many times in the past that even as being the head of your home, or even in your home, we should establish evacuation procedures in case of an emergency. Where are we going to go? How are we going to exit the house? That type of thing. But I mean, it's also very unpredictable how fire starts or where it starts in the home. So it may be a bit difficult to decide what routes to take. But how can an individual create an effective evacuation procedure for their home?
Okay, I want to also point out to you and members of the public that a fire is not the only reason that you may need to evacuate your home. If there is an earthquake, of course, you would be told to stay in place and to take cover under something that is solid, like a table, like a desk, or even under the bed until the shaking stops. But you definitely don't want to remain in your house after an earthquake has occurred. Also, if there's a gas release, or if you are smelling gas in your home, you would want to ventilate by opening the windows and exiting your home without putting on any electronic device which can ignite an explosion. But the main tenets of an evacuation procedure, which everyone should practice within their home, is to understand first and foremost how many exits you have, and to ensure that those exits are available to you to utilize in the event of an emergency. So you should have at least two ways in and out of your home. And we're not talking about the windows here. A front door, a back door, a side door, or front door, any combination, but you should always have two ways out of your building. Now, I know we have a lot of buildings now that has one way in and one way out, but those buildings have extra fire protection to ensure that you can actually make it through the one door that you may have. So, firstly, the tenets of an evacuation procedure are: one, when you observe the fire or you observe an emergency that requires an evacuation, you should be able to raise an alarm. To raise an alarm, you either shout out fire, fire, or whatever the emergency is, you must verbalize that loud enough so all members of your family can hear and determine that it's time to leave. Upon doing so, you should quickly dial the number 990 and give your pertinent information to the operator on the other end. Fire officers are awaiting your call in the event of an emergency. Please give them your contact number, your location, the type of emergency, some form of landmark that you may be able to identify where you are located. As we would be aware of our station ground, we know our locations, but sometimes it's a bit tricky. So you give them information that will get to so they can get to your location very quickly. In addition to that, all of this must take place simultaneously. You should be leaving your home via the exit that is not compromised. If one exit is compromised by a fire or by the collapse of the structure, please leave through the exit that is available. If, however, both exits are not available, I am praying that members of the public know that you need to have fire escape windows where you can open the burglar proofing and you can simply jump through the window and get out to the lower onto the ground and make your way to your muster point. When you are going to your muster point, members of the public, please remember to do so in a brisk walking. You must walk briskly and not run, as running tends to create panic and you can slip, trip, and fall, and that may cause more harm than good. When you arrive at your muster point, which could be as simple as the street sign over the road or under the street light over the road, a clear savanna, an open space where nothing can fall on you, please conduct a roll call to ensure all members of your family are at that location. So that when the first arriving officers, whether police, fire, or whoever may be arriving, first responders arrive, the ambulance, you can give them that pertinent information and let them know if someone is still trapped in the building so they can perform a rescue when necessary. So, as I repeat, raise an alarm, dial 990, giving pertinent information, continue with an evacuation simultaneously, roll call, and if and only you have a fire extinguisher, that is the only point when you are allowed to utilize the fire extinguisher, when you have made sure that your family has begun the evacuation process. I hope that this was very helpful to members of the public.
Okay, Officer Rogers, and one of the things that I really want to ask you is, I mean, some things can only be understood by demonstrations, but some things can be understood by explanation. And when it comes to the evacuation of the elderly, babies, and persons with health issues, how can persons create a strategy in a case of an evacuation, whether it be by fire or a natural disaster, to specifically focus on getting them to safety?
Great question. So for elderly, children, and persons who are incapacitated, the planning has to begin long before an incident occurs. So we plan with them in mind. So for instance, if someone is bedridden, we will have to remember that we will need enough of an aisle space. We may need to create a ramp to the front door so that we can roll that person forward. We may even need to have a wheelchair available to persons such as that. Also, for children, children should be made part of your evacuation procedure. They should be guided accordingly. And we should always make a special sweep of our buildings to ensure that children are not hiding under or in cupboards or in areas, because children get scared and they get frightened. And what they do, they may tend to hide. If somebody is bedridden, again, put the necessary things in place for those persons to be evacuated by building ramps, creating aisle spaces that are very wide, and ensuring that we can wheel those persons out in the event of an emergency. And persons who are incapacitated, we should get them out first, as other persons can walk out, but persons who are bedridden, elderly, they would need the assistance of the able-bodied members of your family. So we must cater for granny, we must cater for granddad, and for the little children within our homes.
So would you advise on investing in maybe smoke masks, these type of things in the home, just in case there is a situation where, you know, you have to exit these persons, you want to put a mask over them just to ensure that, you know, you can get them to safety? Because, you know, they said that a huge number of deaths by fire, not necessarily from fire, but from the smoke that emanates from the fire. So is that a plausible recommendation?
Right. So it all depends on the situation, but we would not necessarily recommend a smoke mask. What you're speaking about is a respirator that can actually keep the smoke out. And I mean, what you would look at, the persons who we're looking at, you would have to seek some sort of guidance from your doctor in terms of that aspect of it. Because if somebody is bedridden or ill, placing a mask on them could limit the amount of oxygen as well. So you'd want to get guidance from a certified doctor where that is concerned. From a fire perspective, from a fire officer's perspective, what we would want to see is the early movement. Before the smoke is generated, we would want to see early movement. I would also advise that if you have an elderly person, you may want that person to have a room that is on the ground floor if you have a multi-floor building. You don't want to place an elderly person on the upper floors and then you have to find a way to get them down the stairwell. So all these are little measures that we can use. But definitely, when you're heading towards having a mask, it means therefore that you're spending quite a long period of time in the building to be warranting the use of a mask. My best suggestion is early movement. You will not need to have a mask if you move very early, especially when you have a smoke detector that detects very early. There is not going to be much smoke generated in the first minute of a fire. when it's detected.
Excellent. And as we wind down our conversation this morning, my final question. Now, a lot of people think that insurance is for the rich. Talk to us a little bit about the investment in home and liability insurance. So, so that persons can secure their investment, can secure their assets in the case of any type of emergency, not just fires, but specific to fires.
And that is I can tell you your questions this morning are right on point. Members of the public, I want you to understand this. When you take measures to protect your home by placing the smoke detectors, the fire extinguishers, and you bring that sort of information to the attention of your insurers, you are supposed to be able to get a reduction in the cost of your insurance. Not only that, it should be the best interest of members of the public to insure your home. But not only your home, you have valuable contents that cannot be replaced. You should try to at least attach a value to the content of your property and to insure that as well. And I'm sure the many insurance companies out there would be more than willing to do so. I would also advise you, when determining the elements of construction of your home, it is best to use elements that are non-combustible, meaning materials such as metal, gypsum, concrete, and if you have to use wood, of course, you will use your early detection, because I know a lot of the homes in Tobago have wood finishing, wooden ceilings, even wooden banisters and so forth. It looks very lovely, but it's an added danger. But I'm not saying not to use it because it acts best against the sea blast. But the key thing here, early detection, and of course, when you put the measures in place, the insurance companies will in turn reduce the cost of your insurance, which augurs well for members of the public.
Excellent. And it helps us to quantify what we have as well, right?
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Officer Rogers. It's always a pleasure having this conversation with you. Always a breath of fresh air, demonstrating that the communication capacity is well alive at the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. Excellent job as always. Again, thank you. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. And after that, we're going to be back with lots more. See you soon.
Go. It's a brand new morning.
Sign up, save, and win every day with Digicel Plus. You could win a tablet or a TV every single day. Just sign up for Digicel Plus and like yourself. Visit digiceltt.com or a Digicel store to sign up now. Promotion ends May 19th and is approved by the NLCB.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Talk about love, talk about trust, talk about forever, baby. When you talk about us, I give you my word, stick to my guns. Believe me when I tell you, baby.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
Only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. As we continue with this morning's conversations, we are talking about financial literacy, and we have Kariri that's going to be hosting a literacy workshop, financial literacy workshop very soon here in Tobago. And this morning we're going to talk a bit more about that with our guest, Mr. Megnat Gosain. I hope I got that right. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, good morning, and you have it correct.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Mr. Gosain. And he is the corporate executive manager at Kariri. And so we are having a financial literacy workshop. Talk to us a bit about what we can look forward to with this workshop, because I see that it is happening on Monday, the 15th of May, which is this upcoming Monday. So talk to us a bit about what is expected and who is invited to the workshop.
Okay, good morning again. Good morning to your viewers and listeners. This is part of a larger series called Kariri in the Community, where we are looking to help businesses and sole enterprises to improve their operations in many areas, the technical aspects of it and the business aspects of it. So on Monday, we will be focusing on the financial literacy workshop part of this program, where we'll be seeking to provide SMEs. So you ask who we are targeting. We are targeting the small and medium-sized enterprises, those who are currently in business and those who are contemplating getting into business. Those are the people that we would be talking to mainly, and just give them the guidance with respect to managing their financial resources. We know that one of the major challenges SMEs have is getting money. They always face this challenge of not having enough money. And given that they have a limited resource, we want to work with them.
Okay, guys, and if you know that Kariri is the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute. And so what they're saying is that this session is geared towards building foundational financial literacy by providing entrepreneurs with the capacity, knowledge, skills, attitude, and behaviors required to empower you to make sound financial decisions. Now, this workshop is going to be held at the Tobago Tourism Institute in Mount St. George. If you guys know where that is the TTHI. That's the hotel school, as we usually call it, up there in Mount St. George. And we have Mr. Gosain, who just rejoined us. Thank you so much for rejoining us, even, despite the small technical difficulties. So I was telling our audience that this is going to be hosted up there at the Tobago Hotel Hospitality Institute in Mount St. George.
Yes, and we are looking to give them the type of information, skill that will help them better manage the financial aspect of their business. So to talk about the financial records that they need to keep, to be able to prepare effective budgets, to be able to cost their goods and services. And as an added aspect of Monday's program, we will be talking about meeting their statutory requirements. How do you determine your taxes? How do you determine your National Insurance Board payments, your health surcharge? And additionally, we will spend a few minutes on Monday looking at the recently approved bill on procurement, on what we need to do with respect to the OPR. So it's a whole packed program which would leave them with many of the skills that will allow them to run a successful business, a business that is sustainable for them. Right? So we do look forward to having them here, have them interact with us, and to see the improvements in their business as we go along. So I repeat, it's for any existing businesses, any persons who are contemplating getting into businesses. It will also be applicable to medium-sized businesses, the larger businesses. It's all of them that can benefit from this program. So we invite them all to join us on Monday.
Excellent. And who are some of the facilitators that would be hosting these sessions?
Okay, so we have our procurement officer, all right, someone from our finance department. I myself would be doing some of this program for them, all right, bringing together the collective experience of Kariri in assisting businesses for over 50 years, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the region. So a number of our senior people will be there. Our chief executive officer will also be there to interact with the business community to look at how this helps them to determine what more we can do to help to grow that business sector in Tobago so that it become just not nationally competitive, but that we can create globally competitive businesses that can explore all of the export opportunities that may arise for them, that will be better able to address the opportunities coming out of the tourism trade. Right? So it's a wide cross section of businesses that we are looking to work with. It's not one particular sector of the business community.
Excellent. And you spoke a lot about, informing businesses about the importance of paying their taxes and those health surcharge for employees and a number of those things. Are you guys also going to be talking about the repercussions for businesses not doing these things? Because a number of, especially small businesses, are unaware of the implication of negligence in these areas.
Yeah, while we would focus on the implications and consequences, what we want to do a bit more is to talk to them about the benefits of doing these things, how they as businesses benefit from having their tax payments up to date, having their workers protected through the payment of their national insurance or their health surcharge. So yes, they would be provided with an understanding of the benefits of meeting their statutory requirements. In fact, even now, for them to register under the OPR to be able to provide services, they would require things like tax clearance, etc. So we are going to focus more on the benefits of doing it rather than say what you will be punished for.
Excellent, and we look forward to that. And so again, for those of you guys who are interested in participating, if you are in business or want to get into business, or you are even a part of a class that's studying business right now, you can even recommend to your lecturer, to your colleagues, that this is a very interesting workshop session that may contribute even greater to the knowledge that you already have or you are developing, especially for those persons thinking about starting their own businesses, if you just want to be ahead of the curve. Now, it's happening again at the Tobago Tourism and Hospitality Institute at Mount St. George on Monday, May the 15th. This is happening from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? I believe I got that right.
Yes, you have that right.
All right, and what is the capacity of this workshop? How many people would the venue be able to hold?
We can go
how
up to
much is too
75
much?
persons at this workshop. What's that? Sorry, can you repeat it?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, I asked how much persons can be held at the venue. So, what is your target?
Yeah,
How much?
we can go up to 75 persons. Maybe if we have the interest, there can be a few more, right? But we do have capacity at the venue, so we invite you come in, register with us. You can go to our website www.kariri.com and register for the workshop, and we would welcome you there on Monday morning.
Okay, so there is a pre-registration that persons can go online to
Yes.
kariri.com and
Right.
register for
Yeah.
the event. All right. Tell us, is this event only going to be happening once? Is this just a one-time thing? Or would you guys be coming back, going to different places in Tobago to carry out this type of workshop?
As I indicated at the onset, this is part of a program called Kariri in the Community. So we are hoping to go across Trinidad and Tobago into communities to help them with their business ventures. Financial literacy is one of the programs that we run. A week ago, we did a program on customer service for the hospitality and tourism industry. And we have done, yesterday in Trinidad, we did a program on food safety, food technology. So there are going to be a number of programs across Trinidad and Tobago. We will be coming into Tobago on many more occasions. We will be going to the communities. We have already started, for example, an initial discussion about going into Castara to do some work with the fisher folk in the Castara area community and other parts of Tobago that may have an interest. Feel free to reach out to us. We are here to work with you to help to develop the socio-economic ecosystem in Tobago. And we'll be willing to talk about the many programs that we have. It's going to include things such as proper use of social media for business purposes, marketing, customer service, financial literacy, developing your ideas. So it's a whole suite of services that we can come and do the workshops for you.
And Mr. Gosan, you may know that there is such a thing as the BDU grant here in Tobago, the Business Development Unit. So in instances like that, are you guys planning to possibly partner with them to have these sessions with a number of their grantees or maybe even persons who would have applied for business development grants?
Yes, our plan is to work closely with the THA in developing the sectors in Tobago. So it's going to be all a tripartite type of arrangement with Kariri, the THA, and the private sector, where we look at the needs of Tobago. We look at how best we can work through the THA or through other organizations to make our technical and business experience and knowledge available to the people of Tobago so that we can make Tobago one of the standout islands in the world.
And you know, there is the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce here as well, the Tobago chapter, which may be also very interesting for you to partner with them in regards to making that connection with the private sector. So that may be something you want to look
That's what we will do, because there are several private sector organizations. As I said, in Castara, we are looking at the fisher folks and working with their organization. And other communities, we work with the organizations in the community. We will look at the Tobago organizations, such as the Chamber of Commerce, and any other organizations in Tobago. And of course, the THA and the several divisions of the THA. We have already started some of that communication with the THA in terms of how we can work to develop the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the island. Again, to build globally competitive businesses.
Excellent, excellent, and we love that for our island. So again, guys, there's the financial literacy workshop that's for MSMEs, guys. This is happening this upcoming Monday at the Tobago Tourism and Hospitality Institute at Mount St. George. So if you want to get more information about this, you can just simply go to career.com, and there you would find the registration link as well, or you could call the number at the bottom of the screen, 2990210, and the extension 5687. Again, the number is 2990210 and extension 5687, right to the bottom of the flyer that you see on the screen. So be sure to contact them. As I said previously, if you are a student, a lecturer, a business owner, or just someone with big dreams and you want to create the foundation that is needed to have a successful business, this might be the session for you. How to arrange your finances, what are some must-knows. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Gosain, thank you for your time this morning. It's a pleasure having you here on Tobago Updates.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. And as we wrap up this morning, I want to thank you so much for making Tobago Updates the #1 broadcasting station on the island of Tobago. Again, we thank you for staying tuned. We thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting. And it has been a pleasure being with you here this morning, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
We are people in the sun.